Michael D. Leonardo, also known as Mikey Scars. The government says he's a high-ranking member of the Gambino crime family.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday night. Quick live Q&A. Me and my father just did a test run. We thought we were going. But I hope everybody's doing all right. Sorry for the wait. Hopefully it wasn't too long. But we're here and we're ready to go.
All right, this is what really happened. We talked for about 12 minutes, questions, Q&A here, and the introduction, and we weren't live with you guys. So I got a little practice under my belt right now. Sorry for the delay. This is the first time Mikey's controlling this. RJ's at work. He'll join us in a little while. RJ's schedule is, he works nights at times, most of the time. So it's a little hard for us to jump on early enough to try to get the European market in. We want to consider them because a lot of the lives, they get hurt with the time difference. So I just answered a bunch of questions, and we'll try it again. Here it is. All right, the Falcones. Good question. The Falcones were from Utica, very close to the New York families. My grandfather was very close with Frank and Joe, Sal and Joe, excuse me. And they ran a lot in Miami, Florida, hotels. Had a lot of involvement there. My Uncle Vinny was going on his honeymoon in 1963. He was told to look up the brothers, that they would, welcome him down there and show him around and do some nice things for him on his honeymoon. Well, my uncle decided to not go. At this minute remembered that he should go by because his father told him to go say hello to these guys. And they almost like sent a search party out looking for him because they couldn't find him. And he regretted it because they had a lot of things set up from entertainment, clubs, restaurants, because there's a lot of clubbing at that time down there. And he missed out. But yeah, very influential guys, not talked about at all. I have no personal interactions with them. Of course, they're way too old for me, but only heard great stories about them and the respect that they commanded in Utica and in Florida.
I want to. Can everybody hear me well? I want to make sure my microphone's working good.
Everybody good? Yeah.
They can hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir, Junior. Okay, good. All right. I want to make sure everybody can hear me.
Now they can see us and they can hear us.
Well, this is a practice run.
Yeah.
But we're going to get it. All right.
RJ to get out here.
Yeah. All right. So we got a bunch of questions. It is rocking. You know why? I noticed it wasn't rocking and rolling before, and that's what caught my attention. So
where's my coffee? You jumped in, huh?
We have the cigar. I don't know if you showed everybody yet.
Yeah, I got
the cigar.
Hey, today's D-Day. June 6th.
You know what? That is a great topic, actually. I think we should dive into that at some point as well.
Yeah, the sacrifice those guys made. ST, where's my coffee? Is right.
Hey, Pat's here. What's going on, Pat? I haven't talked to you in a long time. Hope as well. Here, what kind of cigar? Ace wants to know.
There's a Rocky Patel, a mild one. Usually I go to the Ashtons or the Davidoff, but the Rockies are pretty good, comparable for me. What else we got? Saying hello. Hey, Michael, how you doing? From Philly.
Yeah, we got a lot of people in here.
What do you think?
Where do you want to start? Do you have any way you want to start? Do you have anything in mind?
Let's get some questions here in the chat. Let's get some questions in the chat.
All right, I'm going to go back up. All right, we got that one. I don't know if you want to go into this. I don't think so, but I'll put it up just for now. You tell me.
FU Pavey says, I'm waiting for Mikey and RJ just like John was waiting for a picture, a group picture. That's what we weren't on. Pretty witty. Very good. Got it. What do you got?
Yeah, that was it right there. Throw it up. All right. So let's see. Yeah, this one. I don't know if you want to answer this, but I'll throw it up anyway. Just any thoughts?
You know, I really don't have an opinion on that. I have an opinion on it. Matter of fact, I may have some facts on it. But as facts as I know through rumor mill, let's say. I would hope Gina just enjoys the rest of his life. That's all I'll say there. At this time.
How about this? Can you tell us about Joe Beck di Palermo from Prince Street?
Oh, yeah, legend. Yeah, he's a legend. Big junk dealer. There was two Joe Becks. One with the Lucchese's, and there was Big Joe Beck with the Genovese family. Both wise guys, both legendary, both in the junk business. They were very well respected a lot of time.
How about this one? This is a good one. I don't know if I ever heard this answer. Who made John and Giuseppe Gambino, if you know?
Yeah, Paul.
Okay. Well, maybe more specifically, maybe who
Who's the skipper?
Yeah.
I think it might have been, the skipper might have been the uncle, Pete Inzerillo. If it wasn't him, it was Carl's brother. No, but I think it was Pete Inzerillo. He was the one that was murdered.
Daniel Brain says Gambino club's getting robbed. What are your thoughts?
Guys who robbed clubs don't have a good history of lasting too long. We know about the Bonnie and Clyde team, but there was other people in the past that got banged out. It's not a new thing. It has happened before. This guy named Hawkeye, tough guy. And again, he falls into that category that I spoke about. Well, was that on this? No, we talked about that was on the other one that wasn't recorded. Yeah, it's not a good end. I don't know if that'll happen today, these guys getting killed or whoever's doing it. But they got balls, I'll tell you. Bad ball.
Well, it's interesting, and it'll be interesting if it's true. That's number one. But it'll be interesting to see how it turns out in 2025, because obviously you brought up the Bonnie and Clyde thing that was in the early 90s. They obviously got clipped real fast. Nobody, I don't think anybody's going to get clipped today. So it's interesting to see what type of approach revenge or payback would be at this point, because I don't believe a murder is coming.
Well, it's true because I'm sure people are not happy that clubs are getting robbed. But what's the outcome? What's the remedy? They're in a spot. There's a big conundrum for them. I mean, the mob. If that is really happening like that. Hello, Joy. How's everything? Hope you're well. Thank you for jumping in with us. It's Joy Faraci.
Yeah, Joy. Nice to see you. Always appreciate it.
No, I don't listen to Kid Rock. I was locked up with white boy Rick, who was very friendly with Kid Rock.
Hey, I got an interesting question right here for Ryan. Mikey, I am sure there were some tough guys in the neighborhood that were not affiliated with that life. Any stories of connected guys getting out of line and being humbled by a legit citizen?
Well, some of the guys I talked about earlier, again, was that on when we were live when I told that story about all the guys in the neighborhood getting banged out?
I can't answer that.
Okay. I'll repeat it. My brother's age, 80 years old, let's say right now, Gravano and Jimmy Amma, Papa, and a lot of these other guys in that age group, Joe Mann, who was the Rampers, and a lot of other gangs in the area. Those guys before they were made or even thought about getting made, right? They were more like outsiders. They did their own thing. They did their own burglaries. They were violent on their own. They really didn't respect wise guys too much, because if they wanted to score, some wise guys wanted an end for them, an end of the score from them. And they says, no way, we're not giving to you, as with my brothers. My brothers didn't respect wise guys to that extent to say, I'm going to give you an end of something I did. I put my balls up and you're not going to come with me. They did it with Louis Tropia. Hey, glad to have you here. Yes, your father. I knew your father. He was close with Tato. He was with Tato and very close with Sammy and Louis Melito and a lot of other guys in there. Louis was a good guy. Glad to have you here also. That's very nice of you to jump in with us. And a lot of the guys that were like that pushed back, got killed. A lot of good guys got killed in that age group who would be 80 today, around there. Louis Tropium, his father knows a lot of stories. I don't know. Is your father still around? Is he still alive, your father? Tough question to ask, but I don't know what happened with him.
Oh, that's good. All right, let's see what we got. I got a good one. If I think I know the answer to this.
Yeah, Victor, good question. Well, I'll put it at the height of where my influence was, money influence, notoriety, and probably the happiest time in the street at that time was probably 1990. Not probably, was 1995 when I was 40 years old. That was probably the best year. Everybody should have a year that I had that year, or a decade run that I had in the street. It was a great run for being in the street. So 1995, I'll say. You know, there's births and stuff like that. Those are moments in time, but I'm talking about a long period in my lifestyle, because I reveled in that lifestyle. I loved it. And 95 was the time.
Here, Louis Tropia, his dad did pass away.
My condolences. Yeah, everybody smoked heavily years ago. Yeah, your father was a good guy.
I'm sorry to hear that. Is it true the Cambodians are the most violent, unstable family?
The Cambodians, so you charge for the Columbus there.
I've never forget that. That's the best.
Yeah.
Well, give that, because I don't think some people might not know that, what that's referring to.
Yeah, John used to call them the Cambodians, not the Columbus, because the Cambodians were war a lot. And that was John's reference. There you go. Saddle bomb. Yeah, no, Lucchese's were real deadly when Gas and Vic took over. Was killed a lot of good guys. Testa was one. Real shame of killing him at that time. I knew him, and he was for me, he was a really good guy, and he killed him for no reason, zero reason, to get the rest of that family mad at us. Supposedly, that's what came out. Yeah, no, it did equally amount being deadly within their own families. Just like Joe Messina, let's not discount Joe Messina either. He was deadly in that family too. And then he flips, so like Gas flips.
I think Joe Messina is one of the most underrated. That goes right under the radar for some reason. And he has a lot of bodies under his belt.
Yep. Really evil guy, evil mentality. Just like Junior. He thought you were a threat, Junior Prescott. He thought you were a threat. You're gone. That's it.
Only difference is Junior Persco didn't rat. I mean, that's
Right.
you know, he took his time, filled the bodies. This Messino, just a lot of
and Gas.
Gas. Well, Gas was a special guy, and I think there was something a little wrong with him and everybody.
Definitely needed to step a shot a long time ago.
Yeah. Here. How about this one? This I wanted to put on before. If you've answered it before, just let me know. Can you please tell the story about Jeff Lickman? He alleges that you threw a gun sign at him, and that's from Hingst Hunter.
Yeah, I was coming off the stand, and I went like this. It wasn't a gun sign. It was like I pointed like, I got you. Because we had some pretty good exchanges. If RJ was on here, he knows my testimony pretty good. We had some were funny. And we went back and forth pretty good. He's a pretty good cross-examiner. And we were having some fun. So when I got off the stand, I was walking up all like this. It wasn't a gun sign. But he went, oh, like this in the courtroom. Your Honor, he was like a little baby. Your Honor, he's going to kill me. He gave me the gun sign. And I was like, I got you. So.
Samuel Banks, good to see you. Can you talk about your cousin
Wait,
Joe?
hold on. Let me just talk. Let me back up on
Go ahead.
that case. That was John Jr.'s case, the first case. What they did there, those lawyers in that case, disgraceful as defense attorneys, and the clients that sat there and tried to put a double murder, try to get me to tell about a double murder about Noel Mordecai was a disgrace. They tried to get me to give up all the bookmakers. This is true. It's in my testimony. I said, you want me to give up the bookmakers? The government didn't even ask me to give up the bookmakers. The things that went on there through those defense attorneys was a disgrace.
Let's see. Did you know Gus Faraci at all?
No, I knew of him, and he didn't have a good reputation.
Now, what's interesting about that, I started reading the Scarpa book, and I didn't know Gus Faraci was related to Scarpa. I think he was a nephew.
Yeah, some kind of nephew.
Or a distant cousin. And
a lot of guys went to jail for that murder.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. But now the guys, I think your Uncle Frankie pled out to account with him also. He might have.
Yeah, that's interesting. For what murder? For the DEA?
Faraci murder, Gus Faraci.
Oh, for the Gus Faraci murder.
Yeah, he murdered the agent, Hatcha, I believe.
That I know.
Yeah, and then,
right on Bloomingdale Road, right by over the 440, right on the overpass. It's exactly
my yard out there.
Right there. That's where it was.
Yeah. And a lot of guys went to jail over that.
Do you know the story on that?
Not the whole story.
You weren't involved at all?
No, not at all. No. The banana guys were involved. We were involved. Tuzio was involved. He wasn't getting banged out.
From Ace, Michael, did you cross paths with Jerry Lang on the streets?
Yes.
Now, I just want to say something before you get started. I think Jerry Lang is attributed to your brother's murder through Greg Scarpa Jr., from what I seen last.
And Senior. It wasn't through Junior. It was through Senior, really.
Well, no. I meant that I learned it through Junior, watching one of his videos, but it came from Jerry Lang, apparently.
Yeah. It was okayed from Jerry. Look, the people in the administrations, right? They're told stories by soldiers and captains, and they're there to assess. That's why it's so important to be at the top of the food chain. Let's say, boss, under boss, conseiller. It's the power of life and death. If you're hearing one side, right, you're going to go. That's what makes that position so important. Is they should have really investigated why. With my brother and a lot of other people, they took the word of one person. How it happened? Greg went to Scappy. Scappy went to Jerry Lang. I found all this out later on, of course, and Jerry okayed it. And that's why I never held the Persicos responsible for that at all, because they didn't make the call. I couldn't even make Jerry. I couldn't even blame him. I mean, it sounds very strange. I lost my brother, but where it falls is on Greg Scarpa. And I'll get into that why my brother was killed later on. But yeah, sure. Jerry was a powerhouse in the street. He had a club on 18th Avenue at one time. Like in, I would say 77th Street, around there, I'd take a guess. 77, 18. Everybody liked him. His brother was a major Shylock in the area, not made. He had a lot of brothers. So, yeah, it's hard. When you're in the street, it's hard to separate your emotions and your feelings to the business of the street. And that's a problem when bad things befall you in that life, or family members or good friends. That's the evilness of that life. Yeah, I seen that interview. I don't know if there was more than one, but I seen it. Max, yeah, I used to call my brother Bucky. From a little kid, he was called Bucky because his two front teeth grew a little bit longer than the other ones when you're growing up. So they're called buck teeth, and Bucky after a while. Yeah, I seen it. He was a little off with the story, and he did a lot of time. Once I talk about my brother, he'll realize, even though he was there, he was a shooter. He'll remember the right way.
But if I had to add anything, because I did, I think there was 2 or 3 interviews, and I watched them. And his story was consistent, throughout them, and I think he was pretty respectful the way he spoke about it, in my opinion. But
Yeah. Well, it's the life. Yeah. Again, it's the life. You get an order, you go do what you got to do. There's guys who were in that car. They got an order. I got orders to go do things. Other guys got orders to go do things. It's the person that initiates and is devious enough to get somebody hurt when they don't deserve it. So those are the people you hold accountable. The guys that following orders, my brother followed orders and he killed somebody. So he got, like I did in that show, he followed orders, but somebody was really close to him. He had to live with it. It upset him. I know it did. It really bothered my brother that he killed his friend. So you just can't blame the soldiers that do things on orders. It may be ugly at times. You may not like it. But again, you need to separate and know the life that you're in. Otherwise, don't ever get in it.
Now.
Oh, yeah. That's what we forgot to do. I preface. Thank you, Seth. What we'll do, Seth, we'll take that $10 and we'll sponsor somebody. When we were blacked out on the warm up here that didn't go, I preface this by saying, please don't donate any money. But now look, there's not a money grab. If you can, either sign up for Patreon or sponsor somebody on Patreon and enjoy whatever we have on there. That's what you could do for us.
He has a question for us. Whenever you're ready for it, I'll read it for you. What did you think of Nino Gaggi? Could he speak fluent Sicilian? Had he not been pinched, what would his position been in the Gotti regime? Would he have been hit?
Seth, you know your stuff. Nino, I love Nino. Nino was the classic wise guy. Classic. Stern, had a sense of humor, loved young guys. I interacted with Nino a lot. He tried to get me with him. He tested me many, many times on certain things. If you go on to Patreon, if you're there, I did a show on a sit down I had with him over beef in the casino with Frank Lino. So I think you'll find that pretty interesting, and how his response was to this kid, 20-something-year-old kid, sitting down with him, going back and forth. I like Nino a lot. Would he have been a captain in the family? No. Frankie DeChico and him did not get along. Did not. So that would have been a problem. After Frankie dies, if Nino beats that case, he's out. No problems. He remains a soldier. He don't get murdered.
Do you remember Geraldo trying to question Gotti? What did John think of him?
Yeah, I remember that, of course. Yeah. He's put his big nose in, and somebody broke his nose once. I believe he was on a TV show. His nose broke. I think a guy, Roy Innes. I know where he's coming from. Roy Innes, I think he was from Harlem, and broke his nose on stage. Yeah, he was a pain in the ass, Geraldo. He was like, in everybody's face and bothering people. But that's what they do. They're supposed journalists. But he could have been one of those guys to get hurt in time. John Miller got to like John Miller a little bit. John Miller was a little respectful, a lot respectful to John. And John didn't want him around, of course, but when he was around, he was pretty respectful, John Miller. Mary Murphy was another reporter. He invited her in the club. Mary Murphy sat in the club with John. So, and there was some others. Barbara Nevins, I believe, was another one who was around. John didn't mind. Well, when they were there, they were respectful. And he didn't mind them being there in that aspect, as long as they were respectful. Sounds bizarre, right? Press coming around all the time. Well, what are you going to do when they're at your door all the time? You can't beat them up.
Yeah. Hussein Ibish. Yeah, Roy broke Rivera's nose.
Yeah, my man Hussein, you know your stuff too, brother. Hey, Hussein, I don't know if he wants me to out him on this, but he's got some shows. Hussein is a great writer. There's a lot of great stuff. If you really want to get educated on social issues today and world events, go check him out. One day I'll meet him for a cigar.
I had another question. He had it up. What was the closest you ever came to ordering a murder, if you did?
There was none. I can't think of anybody. I was that mad. Well, if I would have found out who sent that letter, I thought I was pretty close. They would have been gone. That's for sure. The letter that went to my house, as Mikey knows, who's a victim of it also.
Yeah, so that would be the closest.
I was pretty sure, but you got to be 100% before you take somebody's life, especially somebody that was that close to me. I still never found out 100%.
Yeah, well, one day.
Maybe better off now.
Yeah, how about this one? This is a good one. And this is a good question. How did you guys develop a clientele for loan shark and bookmaking without accidentally doing business with an undercover agent? That's a very good question.
Yeah, well, you don't open up a store like a check cashing store and then people come in and borrow money. And I'm not making fun of your question at all, because it is a quality question. Usually, it's everybody in the neighborhood is gambling and doing other stuff. Drug addicts, they come and they borrow money. Usually, it's 90% of people that are in gambling debts, borrow. And you know everybody in the neighborhood just about. You never give a stranger money. Now, did guys flip on guys that were in the neighborhood? Yeah, absolutely. Sparrow got pinched with a guy named Kenny. Frankie DeChico got caught up with the same guy, this guy Kenny, way back. I gotta say, Jesus, probably early 80s. They got caught, Shylock and this guy, he flipped. There was a few other guys, but they were from the neighborhood just about, or newcomers in the neighborhood that they allowed into their circles. Somebody vouched for them. So, but loan shark, everybody was a loan shark at one point or another in that life, associate or wise guy.
Here's an interesting one. By the time you got out of the life, how many members were fluent in Italian? My grandma's fluent in Portuguese, and I only learned the curse words.
Well,
that is a good question. How many guys were actually authentic first generation out of all the guys you were around?
I'll take a guess. Probably when I was in the street, probably 20%. Today, probably 10%. It was more Americanized. You know, guys know words, just like you articulated just now. To say you know a lot of the curse words or just quick sayings like I do. I'm not fluent at all, but I could get by in a conversation at times if they talk slower, especially Sicilian. But Portuguese are very close to Italians in culture. I used to hang out in Ironbound section of Newark. A lot of Portuguese there, all Portuguese just about.
Well, we did the ancestry, the DNA test. I got 2% Portuguese.
Yeah, that's on your mother's side. I don't have it.
No, it's your side.
I don't have
it. Yeah, she did it. She don't have it in it. I think Uncle Jimmy's got it.
Yeah, I don't have it.
Uncle Jimmy, I think, has it. But it's only 2% and 97% Italian.
I didn't know that. Well, Billy Martin was half Italian, half Portuguese. Look at the temper this guy had.
If you want to really get into it, it's basically all Romans. The Roman Empire went from Portugal, Spain, Italy, Greek, that whole area. So basically, it's all very similar.
Well, what happened? Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody out there, after everything in Rome, all this the land that they conquered, Scotland, England, all over the world. They took a lot of people back and brought them to Italy, which was Rome at that time. Germans especially, they sacked Rome a couple of times. The Goths, the Vandals, so there's a lot of influence of different bloods in Italian culture, especially Sicilians. A lot of Sicilians.
Here's a question. It's always a good question. We covered it many times, but I always think it's worthy to bring up until we could maybe formulate an answer for this one day.
Okay.
Why did Frankie D go along with Gotti to kill Paul in so many words? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, not on Frankie's part. It did not make sense for sure. Frankie was real loyal to John. They were really, really great friends. They were brothers, and Frankie knew it could cost him his life, and he went along with it. And that was his deep betrayal to the Castellanos, for sure, and the Gambinos. Deep betrayal. And that's what John says, who's going to kill me? Me? When there was when the rumors were about the drugs with Angelo et al., John felt like he couldn't be touched because they had all the guys, the crews that were the murderers. And Frankie D was the spy in the camp. He was a linchpin for John pulling that off.
Yeah, big mistake. Let's see what we got.
You know how long Frankie lasted? They killed Paul December 16th, right? He got the administration shortly after that. He died April 13th, the following year of 86. He didn't last too long, 4 months, a little bit.
And you know, there's a big fallacy. I think I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, and everybody says that bomb was for John. I think that's one of the biggest fallacies. That bomb was not for John. They knew who that bomb was for, and it was for Frankie. I really don't believe that was for John. I believe they had plans for John, but that bomb specifically that day was Frankie. And nothing could convince me otherwise.
No, they knew Frankie's car. Of course, Gas and those guys knew Frankie's car really well. It was parked right in front of the Veterans and Friends every Sunday,
Yeah.
It was Frankie's club now. Frankie, after Paul died, Frankie takes that club. And then after Frankie dies, Jimmy Brown gets the club. But yes, that was Frankie's car. They knew who they were putting the bomb under, whose car they were putting it under. But they might have thought that Frankie Bellino, who was walking with him, they might have thought that was John also. But it was Frankie's car, 100%.
That was a Frankie hit that day, and if John was collateral, but that was Frankie that day.
100%.
Ironbound Newark. Anthony's right. They got great restaurants over there.
Yeah, Don Peps, besides a lot of others.
What's up, Bobby? Good to see you.
Hey, Bobby.
Yeah, Hussein. No Roman occupation of Scotland. They couldn't get through, so they built Hadrian's Wall to keep the Scots out of Rome, Britain.
They didn't sack them when they were there. They didn't encamp for about a year. I think they encamped for about a year. They sieged that place for a year. Hussein, they never sacked Scotland.
Yeah, we'll see. Anthony, always good to have you. How about this one? You know anything about this story? Patty Boxcar and Spiro? Patty Boxcars was stabbed in Spiro's club by Mike Michio.
Yeah, there's a name again from that age group. Mikey Michio was a tough son of a bitch. He was tough, real tough. Weightlifter, steroid user. Yeah, he lost his mind, Mikey, and he stabbed Patty. I just missed it. Matter of fact, Paulie Zach says, "Where were you? Why didn't you be here? What do you mean? What happened?" Patty, Patty got stabbed by this guy. We wound up being Mikey Michio. But Mikey was a tough guy, but he was a little bit off. And he wrote a book. So there's a book out there. Matter of fact, Pat Travelino sent me the book, and I read it. It's a very thin book. It's about this big. But he talks about the neighborhood. And like I said, Mikey was a tough guy. He got a pass, though. They didn't kill him. Steven, we need a lot of help. We need some help on that team. We're going to wind up like last year.
No, Hadrian's Wall was in England.
I forgot it. Very good. See? This is what I like about this. We fact check everybody. It's nice. It's a good thing. We all get a little education. Education, as we say in Brooklyn.
This is how you talk. You figure it out. As me and my father-in-law say, you talk. We figure things out. But I got one. I just want to see if this is from my father-in-law. I want to see if anybody remembers Fudruckers on Cross Bay Boulevard. Give us a Fudrucker story if you have one.
I would take you there all the time.
I know. I
That
remember.
was Frankie Russo's place, who owns Villa Russo and Russo's on the Bay, among a lot of other places. Frankie Russo and his father passed, I heard, but really good people. They were with the Gottis, Gene specifically at the time. Really good people. But I would take you there all the time to meet Junior.
That's what I'm saying. You would meet John Jr. there all the time. Any
Yeah.
important meetings that you can remember over there? Anything that stands out to you?
Yeah, we're always talking about construction or some kind of criminal activity.
Yeah.
Wherever we were. Every time we met, just about, there was some kind of criminal activity we went over.
Yeah.
He was running the family, so there was always something happening. But we mixed a lot of fun in with it. You used to play all the games. Remember, I used to get what was it? Tokens I had to give you. I'd buy a whole bunch of tokens. Was it tokens or was it the quarters at the time?
I think it was tokens.
Yeah, I ran out of tokens.
Bow Wows? I think he think Bow Wows or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bow Wows.
yeah.
Bow Wows were the Gorinos, maybe. And maybe Greg could fill us in. I think the Gorinos had Bow Wow.
Yeah, he said. Yeah, he said they. It's true.
Knocking the rust off of me.
Well, this is what we do. Is how we figure it out. We talk, and we remember as we go, and that's why it's good coming from the chat too, because they remind us of a lot of stuff. Let's see what we got here.
Mikey Nose has got one.
Where is it? Where are we?
714. My thing don't scroll, so I'm stuck.
There you go a little back. All right, let's see. 714. What is there? Start reading it for me before I get there.
You think Gotti was being punished for selling Hellerman?
I got it.
Yep.
Yep. Let's see.
Yeah, Fudruck. Hey, Meg, you used to hang out in there? What years?
Let's see. Here we go. I got it. You know what? I put this in the favorites. This is one of the first ones. Do you think Gotti being punished for selling heroin was part of the fact he was Neapolitan and not Sicilian?
No. I think it was a huge hypocrisy by Paul to put that kind of pressure on Neil and John when other people, Joe Gallo's son got pinched for heroin. A lot of guys were pinched for heroin and dealt heroin, including Joe Piney. These guys went to prison for it. And they were singling out John to be, and his crew, to be taken down, murdered, or whatever the rumors are out there, or the thought process is on that. John was pissed off because it was a huge hypocrisy when a lot of other people got a pass. Or Paul went like this and just took an envelope, big envelopes, and they were looking to zero in on John and his crew. Paul knew that John was a threat to his power way before any heroin. Rumor was John was going to be the boss one day. I was told that specifically by a staunch Sicilian. So Paul Zaccaria. Maybe that was Paul's way of trying to eliminate John's crew and diminish his power by taking them down or murdering some of them. If Paul don't have those cases, an interesting dynamic happens. I think Paul does try to get them killed. But it's a war he can't win because that, like I said, that Frankie DeChico and a lot of other captains on John's side, including Neil when he was alive.
Yeah. Did you speak about this on the show recently? Can you expand upon John Sr. thinking less of Frankie DeChico for taking medication during their prison bids?
Yankees are winning. Volpe just hit a home run, 2-0. This kid swings for a home run every pitch. Jesus. Yeah, what did you say?
Could you expand upon John Sr. thinking less of Frankie D for taking medication during prison bids?
Yeah, John went out his way of throwing zingers at people. He told me that one day we're just hanging out. They were talking about prison and had guys do their bids. And he said Frankie was on that pill line. I guess he looked down upon it. But you know what? And we talked about this before. Guys who did that, if they got through their bids and needed to do that to get through their bids, so what? In that life, they stood up. Hey, Steve. If they stood up, what was the difference? Why guys weren't snorting cocaine in the street? Guys weren't getting high in the street? Guys weren't drunks in the street? A lot of guys did work high. whacked out. So you go to prison if you could get by your bid on that pill line. Me, I did 3 years. I never took not even aspirin. First of all, I'm allergic to aspirin, but I never took anything. You just got to fight your way through and keep a clear mind. But if the guys that needed to, so what?
Yeah,
But
Jay Cash.
not too many guys like John Gotti, though. You throw that at him.
That's why they took his brain.
Yeah.
Jay Cash. My grandfather Frank was a bombardier in World War II. God bless all who gave us our freedom.
Yeah, Jerry, yep. If you got a picture of him in the uniform, send it to us. We'll post it on YouTube and on Patreon with a little story, a sentence or two. We'll throw it up.
Yeah, that'll be good. Well, your father was in World War II, wasn't he?
Father and 2 uncles. Yeah.
And 2 uncles. Nobody seen D-Day, right? Nobody seen Normandy?
No. My Uncle Vinny was an engineer. He might have been there. They got a brick with his name on in Louisiana. He went to the ceremony when he was alive several years back. He was an engineer. Hey, Ralph, you and I share the same birthday. I'll be 70.
All 3 of us.
Oh, Mikey too. That's right. There you go. Yep.
So, I lost the question, but somebody said, what do you think the best restaurant in Brooklyn was?
Oh, there's so many. Jesus. One of my favorites is Tommaso's, by no question. It was the quality of the food, the way the guy started, the wine. He had a piano player. They sung opera in there, and the food was outstanding. Yeah, Ario's, another tremendous restaurant. Younger crowd, big mix, big wise guy hang out with everybody in the neighborhood. A lot of girls there, but the food was great. Just never mind the atmosphere there. You had old Ponte Vecchio. I haven't been to the new one, of course, but the old Ponte Vecchio was outstanding. Yeah, Johnny LaRocca had 101s. Great restaurant. Good. There was so many great restaurants.
Would you have rated Tusca's at the time?
Tosca?
Yeah, in Staten Island. And Chef Andrea.
Yeah, Andrea was a chef there. Andrea was a top chef in Castellano's, if somebody remembers that, in Manhattan. He was a great chef. They had great food there too. Yeah, didn't last too long there. Beautiful place, but a lot of great food restaurants. You really couldn't go wrong in our area. Yeah. Pizzeria off the hook. Pizzerias out there, but so many, dozens.
All different styles too.
Yeah,
I know you and I have a different style for pizza.
Yeah.
Yo, Brad's here. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. If you want to jump on, Brad, let me know. I'll send you a link.
What time is it there now, Brad? He's in Australia.
Yeah, what time is it there? So what is it now? It's about almost 8 o'clock here.
Yeah, Collins talked about the Baltimore mob. Yeah, my family had my grandfather had some relatives in Baltimore at that time, and one of the guys got shot. Was in a wheelchair. He went on the lam in my upstairs apartment from where I lived. My father had him up there, and my grandfather had him up there for a while till things cooled down. Well, yeah, we were close, very close with the Baltimore people.
Do you remember Nellie Bly, the little amusement park off the Bell Parkway?
Yeah, I think I got you swinging the shirt there or something. What I got you?
Yeah, something with the thing that was spinning.
Yeah, Nellie Bly was a nice little getaway.
Oh, you know what? This is what I wanted. I'm going to switch it up real fast. Not too far away, though. Who controlled the flea market at Caesars Bay in Brooklyn?
You know what? Good question. I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't know. But there's a lot of people had their associates in there with selling wares, selling stuff. It's not flea market is right. There used to be a big television store at one time. I forget the name of it. A big appliance store, I should say, years ago. But later on, they made it a flea market.
It's an easy one. Did you ever meet Jack Falcone? He was the undercover FBI agent working for Greg De Palma.
Yeah, Jack's a good friend of mine. Yeah, I talk to Jack often. Really good guy. Jack is more. He did so many other undercover operations, over 100, that when you speak to Jack, he's not speaking to somebody like in the government. He's talking to like a street guy, and he don't carry himself as a government guy at all. He's had, like I said, so many operations. He only did one Italian, and that was the last one with Greg De Palma. All the rest were with like Escobar's crews and the Cocaine Cowboys in Miami and all over the country, all over the world, actually. Jack was rated or is rated the sixth best or notable FBI agents in history. He had a huge testimonial about a year or so ago in Washington, D.C. Really good guy.
I used to play bocce ball, Cropsey Avenue and Bay 20th with my uncles and my grandmother. And my grandmother had 11 sisters. Wow.
Hey, Danielle, they never used a tape measure, right? They used to use a stick or a branch. I remember when I used to go see my grandfather play when I was a little kid, 17th Avenue Park, all the way down by the water. And I used to look at these guys. They would use a twig, with a twig or a branch that fell off a tree.
Yeah, I never heard this one from Pat and I forgot it too. Francis and John Gotti had a sit down regarding Caesar's Bay. You ever hear that one?
Yeah, I watched Michael's position on that. Yeah, with the guy that was around John and the guy who was around Michael. Yeah, and that's what Michael said, that John bought him out in the beef, and Michael wanted to dump it on him, and John tested John's ego that Michael wanted to buy him out, and John won't let that happen, according to Michael's which I'm not going to dispute his account at all. Sounded pretty good. I should say true, not good. If I say sounded pretty good, you could interpret that as like he may be lying. No, I believe it for fact.
I don't think we did this one before. I think I put it up when I took it down. Can you talk about your cousin, Joe Brewster? Joe Brewster's senior son. I don't know if many people know that he's your cousin.
Yeah, he's third cousin. Second cousin? Third cousin. He was my third cousin. Joe Brewster Sr., first wife's son. Not his second wife. He had Joe with major bank robber. And I don't mean with a gun sticking up banks. They did the night drops. They had the alarm guys. They shut off alarms. Taught a lot of the younger guys in the neighborhood, Frankie Smith, and a lot of those other guys, how to do it. They made millions of dollars. My brother, Joe Brewster, Bobby Zam, a few other guys, they robbed the bank and dropped through the ceiling on down. Joe had a falling out with his father. I'll tell that story more in depth down the road. Had a falling out with his dad, and he wound up staying up on 13th Avenue and wound up with Greg Scarpa. And then got straightened out there and then was murdered by Greg Scarpa with another bullshit story.
So, I had an idea maybe a year ago at this point. Time flies. I started reading the Scarpa book, and I thought it'd be a good idea to dive into it a little bit. I still would like to do that eventually. Maybe do a little series on that. You, me, RJ.
Yeah. No, I have a lot of document. I should send it to you. I have a lot of documentation that Angela Clemente did on Scarpa. Really outstanding stuff. I never read it, tell you the truth, but some of the little bit that I read of it, outstanding stuff. She has a lot of documents. I have it. I have a lot of the files. I'll send them to you and RJ, and you guys can disseminate it.
Because I do think it's relevant to us. You really weren't around him, but they did kill your brother and they did kill your cousin. So I think we have a little connection there, and it's a lot of interesting stuff. So if people want to see that, maybe we'll look into doing something. And the movie's coming out as well, so that's just more reason.
Well, let's see if they make him villain or hero or both.
Hey, Danny F. Mikey Jr. or Michael. Does Frankie Fabiano have any interest in telling his story? Does he work now? Regular guy. Regular guy, I don't think he has any interest. Keeps his head down, and that's it.
Yep. Frankie's on the right path, and he's not interested in coming out. Frankie had a lot of us, had a lot of problems with cooperating, and it still bothers him till today. Even though I don't speak with him, I haven't spoken with him in a while, not for any particular reason. We just don't talk. Michael, of course, does. It's his uncle. But Frankie would have a lot of great things to say, a lot of insight from his days growing up around the Chicos, which was his blood, and then his tenure with Sammy, which is
right on cue.
that time.
Kenneth Mobster, any scammy news?
He's not making it to heaven. I'll just tell you that. Not that I can speak for that guy over there, but nah, he's not making it to heaven.
Yeah, heaven don't want him right now, I don't think.
We're never going to want him. Everybody's waiting for him down. John, Louis Molito, a lot of other guys are waiting for him. Frankie the Cheek. They're all waiting for him somewhere else.
That's a good one. Were you ever approached to make your life into a movie or a TV series?
Yeah. Yes. I have many offers to do certain things, and there's a couple of things that people are talking to me about now, but we'll see.
I'll take a question. Seth, do you ever wonder how life would go if your dad didn't get out of the life, how things would have gone for you? Yeah, I guess that's normal to think about, right? But, I was talking to somebody today, and they asked me, in a year from now, what do you see this, and this? And I said, maybe I'm wrong, but in my 39 years, I'm going to be 39. Just when I think something's going to go one way, I end up in a place that I never thought I could be, or something could happen. So you don't know. Who knows what would have been? Everything's meant to be, I feel, for good or bad. So it just wasn't meant to be, and that's how I stand.
That's right. It is il destino, the destiny. And we don't know what destiny has. I never thought I'd be sitting here. Never. Some may say otherwise, but no, never. Never thought I'd be sitting here. So we don't know what the world has for us that's out there. The universe has for us. So you can never say never. And anything, you become a lot of times what you hate. Madeline, my wife, said that a lot since I know her. You become what you hate. Not just in this situation, and a lot of things in life. So you don't spit up in the air; it may hit you in the face.
Yeah, well, that's life.
Thanks, Roger. RJ, where are you? Quit that job.
Yes, Pat, I am with Local 3. I am. Very good union. Opinion on the life. I think it's all bad. I think it's all fraudulent. I think everybody's fake. Everybody's out for themselves in the end.
It takes you a long while, not just you. It takes a long while sometimes to realize the hypocrisies, the double standards, and the egos, and they get in the way of loyalty, honor. Because the guys that hold the honor are the ones that get hurt in the long run. They pay the price. The opportunists and the capitalists of that life, for the most part, succeed. So, sitting from your position, Michael, seeing all of this, what's unfolded of this, you're going to be 39, right? I got the number right? 1986?
That's correct.
Okay, so you've seen a lot of things unfold. Your position as a child when I was bringing you up, and I try to instill certain things about school and tattletaling and things like that, and holding your honor and all that. Now, all the way up until today, there's a lot mashed in between in your life. A lot of trauma, a lot of things to digest, and it took maturity for yourself to come to a point of realization about the people in the life, the characters in the life. So, and I didn't influence you at all, as you know. Anything you formulate was through your own assessments.
I don't want to generalize. Let's take your words. Paint a wide stroke, right? Right brush.
Stroke. Yeah.
There's good people. There's a lot of great people in that life, as crazy as that may sound. So I don't want to sit here and say like there's nobody good. There's a lot of good people.
Yeah.
But overall, it's not a good way of life. It's very negative. When you got to worry about who's robbing me, who's going to murder me, who do I got to murder, Sammy's going to ask me if I'm mad he killed Louis. I got to answer him the right way, or I'm going to get killed. That's just too much. It's just too much. I think you got to be a certain type of person to be in that life.
Yeah. You have to be on your toes, especially when you get into the political end of the family. If you have mobility or you have aspirations of moving up, when you move up, don't forget, when you move up, somebody's got to get out of the way, and that's the problem. It's how they get out of the way in your plots and plans, like Ravano.
Yeah. Frankie Cali was good. Jackie Nose was good. Spiro was good.
Yeah, those are good people in that life. Absolutely.
I would say great. I didn't know Spiro, but I would say Frankie and Jackie were great guys.
Yeah, and again, speaking from my point of view, when I was in the life, I'm not going to say these were bad guys. I'm going to talk about in the life. They were good guys in the life to other wise guys and other people in it. What bad things done? Sure, absolutely. It's part of life. But these guys were the guys you could look up to. Frankie was younger than me, of course. Jackie was older than me. He pinched my finger. He was a good guy. Jackie wasn't a violent guy at all. Jackie never asked for anybody's life. Jackie never had a propensity for violence. He did not. It was always through power of words and negotiating. That was Jackie. Jackie wants to see everybody get along. I would say Jackie, if you left Jackie alone in the woods, he'd start talking to the trees. Jackie was just a good guy. So he was a calming person after the Gotti reign to have out there for them. As a boss, no, he's not. He was never a boss. Don't ever believe that.
I forgot. Anything in the life specifically you regret other than flipping?
Yeah, you have a lot of regrets in anything you do in life. Yeah, sure. There's a lot of things. I should have got divorced before I had kids outside of wedlock. I should have done it the right way. The person that touches Michael. I was a very selfish guy in that manner. In my street life, I was extremely selfish when it came to my personal life. So you do have a regret that you can say, because my regret is when you hurt somebody else. If I say I regret something that only affected me, it's just kind of selfish. It's when you reflect that your regret had an impact negatively someone else. And you got to come to the realization that what you did was wrong, and then you can move forward on anything you do in life. If you're going to believe you're right on everything and every people around you got hurt, that's not a good way to go about life in any aspect, everybody, in any aspect, not just the mob.
The running joke is that the Sicilians are the schemers. Is it a joke? Is it a joke or is it true?
No, it's always. But they why? John killed Paul. Albert killed Mangano brothers. I mean, just, but the Sicilians always had that watch out for the Sicilians. I give you a funny story. Tony Genovese. He was the one who put up a lot of buildings in Manhattan. Lots of dozens and dozens of buildings. Great buildings, partnered with Johnny Gambino. Tony was Calabrese, but he hung out with Sicilians all the time. And he says, Mikey, that's the way he spoke broken English. He was there about 4,000 years, couldn't speak English. He never mastered the language. It was comical, though. I had a lot of fun with him. He would say, Mike, you know the difference between a Sicilian and a Calabrese? He says, a Calabrese gets mad. He goes in the middle of the street. He shoots you, no mask, no nut, and that's it. A Sicilian, he shake his head, he smile, and the next year they go, hey, what happened to the nicer boys? They're not around no more. But he got mad at somebody. He says, that's the difference. You guys are sneaky.
And it ended up being true, right? Look how John took Paul out right in the middle of the street.
Yeah, right.
Let's see, I had it going up here. All right, here's a good one. I don't know if you watched the second one, so this might be a hard question for you, but I'll let you start. Which Gotti movie is more accurate?
I tell you, I like the one with Armand Asante. I think that was excellent. The rest of them, you know,
But let me ask you, because I never watched the one with Asante until recently. Maybe like yeah, it was very factually incorrect. A lot of the things in that movie that just the whole blowing up of Frankie the Chico was all nonsense.
yeah, I know. Look, it's Hollywood; they don't get their facts right. But the worst one was the one Junior helped direct. So and that's the problem with we spoke about movies and doing shows right before somebody asked a question for me, and one of the first things I ask them, whoever solicits me to do something, is how factually correct we're going to do this. And you know what the answer is at the end of the day, Michael? It don't matter. It's not about getting it all right. It's a matter what sells. Yeah, but the facts. My point is this: but the facts are good enough to tell a good story. But the people that do this, they want to have their own take on it and their spin on it, what they think is right. And a lot of times it comes out wrong, even though the facts they have them for right comes out wrong. Look at the one that De Niro did with Scorsese. What was the one about Frank Sheehan? What was the name of that one? Terrible movie.
What the Irishman?
The Irishman. Yeah, that movie.
You won't even watch it. You can't even waste your time.
Yeah, one of the worst movies ever. That Scorsese did that. He had plenty of people that flipped that could have told him what really happened. They got the Irishman killing Joey Gallo. Come on, So a guy from my point of view watching it, that's what it's the turnoff. The general public don't know the facts, so it's great for them to watch. They really believe it. But for me and guys like me out here, that's garbage. We have a different opinion the way we see it. Yeah, Roxanne. Hey, Roxanne, how's everything? Roxanne shared some certain personal things with me on emails, and she knows this stuff. And she had some hits in her life, but she's a good person.
Yeah, Goodfellas was a great movie. That's one of the best ones out of all of them. I think that was a phenomenal movie.
Yeah, it's the realization of murders and stuff like that, and Henry Hill. Henry Hill told the story, so they scripted it his way. Is it factually correct? No, of course it's not all the way correct, but great movie.
HBO movie made Sammy out to be a hero, like he saved Gotti from Paul.
Yeah, that's garbage pail. But for the general public who don't know, it's a great thing. That's why I had to come on here and put Sammy back where he belonged.
We're not done. We put him. We're not done yet.
I'm not done. When he dies, I'll be done. I'm not rooting for him to die. I want him to stay alive so I could keep bashing him for his lies and outing him for his life. I don't wish him to die. I wish him to stay alive so I can sit here and torture him more with facts.
Now he'll be here till he's 98 smoking cigarettes.
I want him to come knock on my door. He says he'll come knock on my door. Let him come.
Sam, nah, he can't. He's not coming knocking on your door.
No, I'm just saying. He says that's right.
He's got to go do a seance. He'll get Louis Melito, send the ghost.
Yeah, Louis be on my side.
Keep your eyes in the back of your head open. True. Here we go. Michael, what did John Gotti think about Vito Genovese? Vito was a lot like John Gotti, in my opinion.
Never expressed anything about Vito. Never heard him mention Vito. Not that I can remember. I don't think I've ever heard him mention Vito. Albert, other guys, yeah, but not Vito for some reason.
Good to see you, John. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Sammy the Bull somewhere in Florida.
Hey, Billy, where's my molding?
Here, Frankie Cali. He wasn't first generation, was he? Oh, he was.
Frankie was born in the States.
So he would be first generation if his parents came from there. So, yeah. He wasn't born in Italy. That I know. Ace. Ace always has the great questions. Michael, you always talk about Cosa Nostra being a brotherhood. Did you consider you had a duty to the neighborhood people, and would you go out of your way to resolve problems they would bring you?
Oh, absolutely. No, we were obligated to do that, I feel. And for the most part, like I talked about the older guys when I was a kid, that's what they did. They really try to help the neighborhood out with all the little problems, let's say. And Spiro was one of those guys. Spiro was great for that neighborhood. Yeah, it was. I sit in and I think and I pause. I put myself back in that time, and you remember the good times in it, and the things that they did. Spiro paying people's rents and taking care of all the kids, feeding them anytime they wanted to come in a club or go next door to Nick's candy store, right next to Spiro's club on the corner, and buying the kids lunch or food or putting $2, $3, $5 in their pockets, depends what era it was, $20, you know. So it wasn't part of just having everybody like you, so maybe one day they'll be on the jury. Propaganda stuff. It was real. You could see it in these guys' faces. It was real. They really liked the kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I got one right here. You believe that the biggest reason Paul got hit was a disrespect to Neil at his death? At his deathbed, not coming into his men to the front lines, or was his ego staying alive? So was John's ego keeping him alive, or was it more disrespecting? And I like this question. We have talked about it, but I like to picture John sitting there and saying to himself, this motherfucker is selling drugs. He's doing his thing. He's living in this house, and he wants to kill my friend, right? Because then it was really for Angelo. So I think they were just sitting around and said they just had enough of the hypocrisy, in my opinion.
No, look, yeah, the hypocrisy was in it for sure. And survival was another, whether it be survival of taking down ranks or maybe hurting somebody. Again, don't forget, Paul had those cases going on. Paul wasn't going to look to start clipping people during the course of his case. He had bail. All those guys had bail. Got to worry he gets his bail pulled. Those guys starting to drop. But the excuse that he didn't go to Paul's wake, that's Neil's wake, excuse me, that Paul didn't go. That was just a kick in the balls to John and a motivation more to say he disrespected Neil in death. So, but that wasn't not the reason. He just added on to it, exacerbated it.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was kill or be killed too. I think survival instinct kicked in.
Yeah. Again, the kill or be kill. Don't forget, they got arrested in '83. Paul gets killed in December '85. This thing went on for almost 2 years about turning over tapes, not turning over tapes. Roy DeMeo, I think, gets killed in '83. So if Paul really wanted to kill John, it could have been done or attempted earlier. So to kill or be killed, how long is that going to go on? You have a rumor out there you may get killed, and you're in Paul's position. You're only asking for trouble. You know that crew's very capable. They're not going to get called in and get banged out. So there's like almost a year and a half to 2 years that they had to think about Paul killing them. So if Paul was going to kill them, I think it would have been done earlier. Doesn't mean it wouldn't have happened. Probably could have. But again, there was a lot of other things going on with Paul at that time. And John says himself, he had all the, who's going to kill me? Me? He knew the inside track, like I stated earlier. So, the only thing John had to worry about was an outside faction coming in and doing it. Because inside he had it covered.
It's a good question. Why do you think the Italians and the blacks were pitted against each other back in the day? It seems the struggle would have been something they had in common.
Oh, no. I'm going to disagree that they were pitted against each other. You go up to Holland, they were partners in the junk business. Huge. They made movies about it. The Harlem guys, Lucchese guys, Genovese guys, Genie Gotti, and the rest of those guys who were pinched in that case. There was all blacks in that case. So when it came to the drug business, they had relationships. So going back to Bumpy Johnson and Lucas, Nicky Bonds, and a lot of other guys, iconic names in that life going way back. They had relationships, and it was over money with drugs. Going back to numbers, let's go even further back. Let's go back to early on. Dutch Schultz was that when Dutch Schultz was around, and the rest of those guys. They had the number guys over there. But the blacks had a lot of number stores, partnered up with the Italians, along with a guy named Spanish Raymond, who was one of the biggest number guys in the country. So there were relationships.
Have you ever met John Stanford? I don't think you did, right? Michael, how often did Mr. Acuri come to the Raven Club to see John?
Yeah, well, I would say Joe was there minimum of 2 a week. I'm going to say 3 times a week. Joe was a piece of bread. Every Monday he would go eat in Taormina up the block, along with John. But Joe Curry, Prince, him and his crew, They had the Kadrama. All the Sicilians out there. They had the Kadrama Union, the Asphalt Union, and some other unions over there they ran. And he would come with his hat and just probably uncomfortable being in that surrounding with all the press and everything. But his father, Mikey Domenico, they had a club on the Upper East Side. And they had the liquor store. His father had the liquor store up on the Upper East Side. And their club had a lot of action in it. It just didn't have any press. But it was close to Harlem. And, they were a big force. So they had a lot of guys coming around. What they weren't used to was the press being around the FBI outside every night.
Michael, can you tell us the real truth about the whole situation between Joe Bonanno, Carlo Gambino, and Tommy Lucchese, and what started the Bonanno split in the mid-'60s? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll have to do a show on that. And what I'll do is, Robert, I'll get the mob archaeologist to come on, and we could try and lay out as best as possible to articulate it. It's involved. It's all power struggles. And Tommy Lucchese, Carlo Gambino, how close they were. They were related, not through blood, through marriage. And Joe Bonanno was Joe Bonanno, Castellano Marese. And Joe thought he was royalty. And, then you get the other side with the Colombo guys, Joe Pafacci. So, and the Magliocos. It's very much involved. But a great story and a great point in history in that life to tell. It's not a good point in history, but a great event at that time.
Could your father speak Sicilian?
Oh yeah, he cursed. He was good, and he had some Napolitan mixed in there too. He would mix it up. My mother was Napolitan, so he mixed up Napolitan with a Sicilian. But when he would fix his car out in the middle of the street on 17th Avenue, you learned a lot of curse words in Sicilian.
This is an interesting one. Mike the Bat's sister said that his ghost is haunting the place he was killed at for being betrayed by Sammy. Have you heard this?
Well, there was 2 guys killed. Stymie was killed there also.
So did you know that they did a ghost hunters there? There's you could.
I've heard something there.
Everybody, when they're done watching, they could just Google it right on YouTube, search it up, and it comes up. And they went in.
I've never seen it, but there was two guys in Sammy's crew that were murdered there. One by Sammy, one by a Colombo associate who was lost his mind, killed Sammy for zero reason.
I think they were saying that you could hear somebody whispering Michael in the basement.
Yeah, could be. Mike the Bat. I like Mike the Bat a lot. A lot of people like Mike. Sammy distorted his story. Was he getting high? Yeah, absolutely. All the other nonsense with Nicky Cowboy wanted to start his own family. That's this guy's a nut. It's pure fantasy. He's really crippling these guys' reputations. Yeah. Those 2 guys loved him. Those 2 guys loved Sammy. They would have done nothing to hurt him.
Here's a go one. Michael, which other family in the 5 families did John have the most allies in?
Yeah, good question. Well, Joe Messina, he really controlled Joe Messina. Let's not let Joe Messina talk about John Cena after John Cena is not around anymore, which I really didn't like because that's bullshit. If John would have told Joe Messina to click your heels, he would have been clicking, boss or no boss. So he had the banana guys. He took a couple of guys from him. Bobby Sasso, I believe, I don't know if Paul got him over or John did. No, Paul got Bobby Sasso over from the bananas. And I think Carl Lizard with the bananas too. He got him taken over to our family. But he had deep relationships in every family, even in Genovese family. He had Ali Shades, Alan Longo, and a lot of other guys. He had really good relationships with them. Joe Glitz, Joe Dente. So John had a lot of deep relationships. Most of them were forged in prison.
Was your grandfather in good standing during the Anastasia years?
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, you would have been gone. He was old by then. My grandfather was born 1880. When Anastasia took over, it was 1951, I believe. You tested my memory here. And my grandfather was already, let's say that's 51. He was already 71 years old. He was already out of the life, just about.
Have you spoken to RJ?
Yeah, he got back to me. He didn't get on?
Yeah, I wanted him to get on. I wanted him to jump on with us. Because we just hit about an hour now, a little over an hour or so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he said drop a link. Here he is. Drop that guy a link.
Beautiful.
Hey, listen, he can shut us right off, or we'll go dark if you don't drop a link. How long ago was that? I can't see the time. You got him?
Hold on, I'm going to email him the link.
Okay. Let's see what else we got here while you're doing that.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, he's good to go.
All right.
Here's a good one. Ready?
Yeah.
If John Gotti was still alive today, do you think Trump would pardon him?
No.
No way, because Trump said he was pardoning Diddy. I think Diddy might be a little worse than John Gotti.
A lot worse. I'm a little disappointed in that trial because what they said they had against this guy, they're not really proving anything but a lot of that we've seen from newspaper articles. We don't know. We're not in the courtroom. But drugs, beating up girls, a lot of deviant sex and stuff like that. Maybe to some it's not deviant sex, but it just falls flat for me, this case right now, for what I'm hearing. We may not like the behavior, but I really don't see any real crimes so far. So to me, it sounds like if a girl gets raped or is enforced as a sex slave, you're out in the United States. You can get up and walk away. You don't sue for $20 million or threaten and take $20 million and then still hang around. As one of the girls, I think that was his ex-wife or wife or whatever, and then still stay around. So it falls flat for me. Girls. There's plenty. I'm not going to diminish this. There's plenty of girls that are victims that they get caught up. They get caught up in fear and all this other stuff. But you have plenty of decades in some of these cases to stay away, and you don't. Nah, I don't know if I could vote guilty. Ethics, morals is one thing. You could be convicted in 5 seconds for that. But where's the real crime? You got to look through all of this. Would Trump like it? They did it to him. A lot of other people got their reputations ruined because a girl wants to say something. And it could be true. Like, that's the problem here with all of this. Why take decades to come out or a decade to come out now? You either do it then, or there's got to be statute of limitations. They got to bring into law to say after this you got no claim. As cold as that may sound, but I don't think fear factor was the. I think money was the thing that kept these people around. My opinion. I know I'm going to catch a little flack for this, but you feel you were wrong that way. You were raped and you were being used as a sex slave. You can leave. Doors open.
So RJ, if you're listening, I emailed you the link.
As far as I know, nobody went to that wake. Paul's wake.
Nobody?
Immediate,
Was there an order that came down?
immediate family, relatives on the outside, personal friends. But I don't remember any wise guys that were outside of that attended the wake.
All right, I think RJ's here. Let's see. I had a good question before. Let's see.
Now, Studio 54, I really don't know if any mob guys had any real hooks with them. I'm not sure. Can't get him in?
I don't know. Maybe he's setting up his microphone and his camera. Here's a good one. Besides conspiring to put him in a body bag, what is your assessment of Danny Marino?
You mean Junior?
No, I guess he's referring to the story with John Jr., with Joe Watts and Danny Marino.
Yeah, Danny's pure Cosa Nostra. Loves the life. Comes from bloodline of Carmel Mendoza. Classy guy. Huge money. Not a vicious guy at all. Calculating, yes. Was pissed. My opinion was pissed that Paul got killed. Absolutely. Wasn't happy with it. But lasted through that life. Did a couple of bits. Had a great life. I had my position on Danny. And then later on, when I was in the street, after talking to some older guys, realized that if he was involved with the plot against Frankie and John et al., that's part of the life. And John was wrong. John was not a legitimate boss in the commission's eyes at that time. And if Danny took that position against them, that's it. Danny was right. Killed the boss, our boss, which was Paul Castellano at the time, without permission from the commission. And his position, you got to say, in his time of thinking that him and Jimmy Brown and everybody else, what the rumor is, they were involved, was right.
One guy to bring back to hang out with, who would it be?
My brother.
I didn't expect that one. I probably should have, but I thought you were going to say Paulie Zach, maybe.
Yeah, my brother. Just to hang out with my brother.
That's a good one. I don't know. We had RJ in the back. I don't know. I don't know if maybe he has no service because he was on his phone.
Let me see. Text Roger. RJ, could you text Michael and see, or call Michael and see what's up? Everybody wants to see you.
Yeah, some guys get 2 kisses on the cheek, not just one.
Yeah, that's a double kiss. I got a couple of guys that still do that, not involved in the life. And don't forget, look, they think that's just an Italian thing. It's not. If you go through Europe, even the Muslims, they kiss on both cheeks. There's a lot of cultures that kiss. So, and there's others that don't even like to shake hands.
Well, shaking hands has become a little weird to certain people in society today. So you got to
it's a fist bump. They did the prison fist bump.
That's right. That's right.
Detach Detached.
But what do you think? We're going a little over an hour. You think we did good?
I don't know. Let's ask the guys on here. Did we miss any questions? Let's see. Victor Morgan. Built Hadrian's Wall on the border of Scotland, England. They did build the Antonine Wall in central Scotland. Okay. Well, I'm going to look that up when I get off here. And we got a little Erin Bra. Somebody emailed me that if I knew what Erin Bra was. Forever Ireland. Oh, Bellinger hit a home run? I see Ralph.
Everybody say hello. I got RJ on the phone.
Where is he?
What's up, everybody? This is a great show. I get to watch it as a fan. Like, I haven't been able to do this since I started the show, so it's fun. It's almost
why can't you get on
for the first time? I get to watch Michael as a fan.
Yeah, but I don't want you to be a fan. We want you on the show. Where are you?
Now my phone won't. I don't know. I'm trying to connect to my phone and it won't. I don't know why it's not. It ain't. As soon as I tapped in, it just whenever I can't see you guys, everything just goes black. I'm in the car.
You just getting out of work now? Long day. You hear me? Where'd you go? I can't hear you no more.
So keep going, and I'm gonna keep listening. Just want to pop on and say hi real quick.
All right, we're gonna get you on. If you could, we'll still be on for a little longer. Come on, jump on, but show your face. Make sure everybody wants to see you don't have a black eye on your left side.
Yeah.
Black Eye Club.
Just
talking about that today.
Now, Andre, he's not compromised. We're good.
I'll try to click the link again, see if I can get in.
All right.
Yeah. Come on, show your face. Everyone wants to see you.
All right, no doubt. Yeah, so he's gonna try and get on. We'll give it another whirl.
Here, Ace got a question. Fuzzy Terry was from your neighborhood. Did you guys see him around when you were a kid, or was he already No, he was around all the time. Funzy was around. When Paul had the club, he was selling water, mineral water, Madonna water, it was called. And I remember a guy coming in with what do you call that? A U-boat like full of water. I said, I told Joe Brewster because he ran the club for Paul at that time. I said, what's this? He says, Funzy's water, Madonna water. Everybody's got to buy it. Yeah, Funzy was character. He was all over. You look at him, you want to run away. The guy was scary looking as a kid. And he was a serious guy. On the surface, I heard he was a really well-liked, serious, fair guy on the inside. Again, I wasn't made at the time, so I was never introduced to him, of course. I would have liked to have been.
Yeah, everybody, good. Everybody, a lot of people saying we did good today. It's good. Good start. We did a practice run. Nobody knew.
Yeah, let's see who else we got in here. What else we got in here? Doug Ross.
How did you guys view when they shot Fat Pete's sister?
Oh, disgrace. And I'm saying it because I'm sitting in this chair today. No, none of they shot Fat Pete's sister. I think a cousin or an uncle they banged out. If memory serves me.
They shot his sister too, and she lived.
Yeah, they may have killed an uncle of his too. I could be wrong. But for some reason that's hit me. Yeah, that was disgusting. The guys who got that order, they were associates. I don't think they were wise. No, Dino definitely wasn't a wise guy. Dino was with us. He's with Bobby Boreal, Dino Bassiano. He was with us. Bobby died. Junior gave him to me. I wanted no part of it. What those guys were doing downtown, whatever their business was. I didn't need new friends. I asked Junior to take them back. And then he went and hang out with the Lucchese guys. And he's one of the guys who got that order to shoot her. Now, I know you follow orders, but I would never shot that girl, ever. I think I would have shot gas pipe.
Which uncle? I forgot. Robert, I'm guessing. No, he died 4 years before, 5 years before I was born.
My brother? Yeah, he died July 16th, 1981.
Joe Russo Jr. Ask your dad what was the club on top of the Independent Savings Bank on 18th and 86th.
Romeo and Juliet, Gambino's club. Then it was a Crystal Palace, maybe after Bloodbath. You know how many guys got thrown down those stairs? Yeah, Gambino's had that place. Wild place.
Benny Blanco style?
Oh, forget it. There was a lot of guys got thrown down those stairs. Yeah, it was Johnny Gambino's place. A lot of champagne sold in that place. A lot of money at that time.
Did you testify at Fat Sal and Tommy Monk's trial for shaking down VIP? Did you know them? Thanks.
Yes, and yes. Yep. Tommy Monk was a real good guy. I liked Tommy. For a limited time, I met him. Good guy. Mild-mannered guy. And Sally Scala is one of the shooters on Paul. Loved by Eddie Leno's cousin. They call it, and let's see. Yeah, Fat Sally's shot Paul. Yep, with Eddie Leno.
All right, we got Brad. Funzy, I heard, was ruthless. Ask Caponegro from the Philly family had him tortured and killed for killing Bruno after giving him the nod to do it and then deny it.
Yeah. Well, that was a major play by the Genovese family to wrestle that family away from the Gambinos. Because we had Carl had a long-standing relationship with Philly, Baltimore, and some of those other places. So, yeah, Funzy, you think Funzy did that on his own? No way. That was a plot. Fungy just was the guy saying it. But you know what they did? They set Tony up, Caponegro, and they tortured him. They shouldn't have done that. They should, if that was their play, they should have just killed him if that was it. They tortured him. That's disgusting. Because the guy was set up.
Is it true John wanted to rub out one of the shooters on the Castellano hit after his gun jammed, like Sam proclaims?
No. They weren't going to kill Vinny Artuso. It was Vinny Artuso, the other shooter. His gun did jam. And no, don't believe Sammy. Good question. I like these questions. It allows me to contradict a liar. Sir Lie-A-Lot. For the new people on here, his nickname is Sir Lie-A-Lot. I gave him a few. But that's one of them. When it applies to this, when he talks bad about people's families, I call him scummy.
Scammy's the best one. Scammy's probably the best one.
It's just like nice right now. Scam, yeah, you run a scam. Scummy is what he really is when he talks about wives and kids and everything else. And this one, he's Sir Lie-A-Lot again.
Any opinion on the Yakuza?
Yakuza. No, they've been around for a very long time. They function in Lower Manhattan. Triads, Yakuza, and other Chinese gangs and Japanese too. These people are serious. They're undercover for a long time, and they do their thing. Go watch the movie Year of the Dragon with Mickey Rourke. Pretty good movie.
What happened to Mickey Rourke?
I don't know. Mickey was a good guy. I really liked Mickey, not because he was an actor. He was a really good guy. He was anti-establishment, and that's what ruined him. His mentality was anti-establishment. He took himself down with his position against Hollywood and with the way they went about their business. And I'm not talking about all the rumors today. I'm just talking about years ago. And they blackballed him for a while.
This is from Dan Camba. I think it's crazy how often you hear about guns on hits jamming and misfiring. And when you really think about it, how stupid is that? That you're going to plan this whole big hit, go through all these, everything, planning, plotting, and then your gun jams.
Well, they had 4 shooters, and you're supposed to carry 2 guns. Look at the guy who got Mikey Capola supposedly shot. His gun jammed, and then he had another one.
But let me ask you a question.
What are you gonna do now, tough guy? His gun jammed. He pulled out another one.
I never heard of that.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question, because Danny's a good guy. Danny's a good friend of mine. Why didn't anybody just get a rifle? And I know you and I spoke about this, but I think it's good to bring it up. And, if you really wanted to get somebody, you could get them, especially Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens. You sit on a roof, you get a rifle, and you take somebody out. Why was that never thought of? Why was that never implemented?
Well, Dino Bassiano, as I mentioned earlier, I think shot across the Gowanus and killed his. It might have been his uncle or somebody during the Gallo Wars. They killed him. Yeah, but that's true. They could have done that with Chin and other people too. They could have got him from a block away. Listen, we had guys that were snipers. Your Uncle Frankie, Lou Melito, Eddie Garofalo, Charlie Boy, just about everybody we knew in our group could really shoot, including me. We could shoot. All avid hunters, and it's a way you could have done something and shot somebody from a roof a block away and get away scot-free. So no, it's really not used that much in history.
I wonder why.
Up close and personal.
Like The Godfather?
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't get that line from him, but yeah. Look, going way back in time, right? My grandfather and other guys had a lot of property upstate. He had property upstate in Tacona, New York, and he had it in the Highlands. And I have the pictures of my grandfather there with his sons. And my father would tell me stories how he would drive my grandfather up there or other people up to the farm, and they all practiced shooting. It wasn't really about hunting. It was to get together. They had meets upstate. And there's a lot of people on here that would know that. Just like the Appalachian meeting. They utilize a lot of upstate at times. A lot of meetings are never reported because they weren't captured. But upstate we used, and a lot of guys would go there with the guns and practice to shoot.
I want to bring this up because this is real. I never heard this one before. Was Jimmy Brown's brother priest at St. Finbar's? Because there was a Father Fiella, but there wasn't Jimmy Brown's family, right?
No, same last name. Same last name. No, but he was tough. He wouldn't let wise guys who got killed be serviced there. Like they were excommunicated.
Yeah, and you want to know something else? He got accused of touching little boys.
Yeah, I heard that too later on. They should have excommunicated him if that's true.
This happened. He got moved out of St. Finbar's because of this.
That's a whole other story what the church does. That's why the Catholics are under attack, because they never handled their business the right way. That's a whole other subject for another day. But we'll talk about that if anybody wants to. I have a very strong opinion on that.
I think we did good. What do you think?
I don't know. It was pretty good to me. We got to rewatch it and see. And look, we got a lot of people that commented today. There's hundreds of comments in here. Hundreds of comments, a lot of people. What's this? Axel? As much as I hate Sammy as a person, he had real mobster qualities both as a killer and as an earner. Is there any world in the Gambino family that he becomes the boss without John Gotti involved? No way. Sammy never would have been the boss. No. Sammy, yes, he had a lot of qualities. He knew how to get people murdered. He knew how to navigate that life. As far as being an earner, you got to give a lot of credit to who he never would give credit to was Eddie Garofalo, his brother-in-law. Eddie Garofalo, which I'll do a show on him in the future too, was a genius in the construction business. Eddie knew everybody. He was great. He moved around the construction business really well. He met with Fat Tony. Sammy says he met with Fat Tony. Eddie Garofalo, who wasn't even a wise guy at the time, met with Fat Tony and other people in the construction business. Eddie was the vehicle to have Sammy propel himself in the construction business. Sammy had the the influence. He had the power. He was close with Tato. He got straightened out in the 70s and took advantage of that. He was extremely aggressive. Listen, I bash Sammy all the time, but I was very close to Sammy. I looked up to Sammy. I really did. And just that after the fact, everything he's done, it's what bothers me. But he was a force. I'm not going to take that away from him ever. But he was a really evil guy with a very evil plan. You did anything wrong to Sammy, he made sure sooner or later you died. So that's not a good wise guy. He's supposed to bury some things. You know, I told
He did bury some things. A wrong choice of words.
yeah, no, but you're right. It's true to fact. So you didn't say anything wrong. But he was a very devious, evil man. You could see he bleeds through today what he's really about, because that's what he was then. It just didn't metastasize until John seen it and heard it on. We heard it on tape.
That's it. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. It's true with a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
Did you know Frankie Joya? What's your thoughts on his channel?
Yeah, I know Frankie in the street. I think he's doing a pretty good job. I don't watch all his shows, of course. I can't watch everybody's show, but I tune into him. He's doing a pretty good job. I like the way he handles himself. I think he's in a good mode. The way he don't curse. He don't need to curse. He don't need to bash everybody. He tells some quality stories about people he knows from that area, Mulberry Street, Prince Street, etc. He has a lot of good stuff to say. So I tune in to learn something. Also,
What's up, Mike? I don't know if I said hello to you yet. Good to see you.
hey, Mikey, what's happening? Hope everything's well. RoboCop says there's a homeless guy who said he was a Gambino enforcer named Sean McCarthy. Or Sean McCarthy, that said he knew Sammy and collected money at tallies. I never heard of him. Wondering if you did. Never heard of him. The only money that collected, the only person that collected money in there was Huck for Sammy. He collected Sammy's book. Now, could there be a Sean McCarthy? Could very well be that was around. I just never heard of him. So if he wants to tell the story, he would have to know me. So if he's around, he should maybe tell how he knows me, and I could corroborate or not his position.
When did your grandfather officially retire? What decade?
Nah, there's no retiring. You just right off into the sunset. He was around. My grandfather had a club just about till he died, 90 years old. He had a club on Banter Avenue. Yeah, he had a club on Banter Avenue from the 20s. The Veterans and Friends Social Club, right? Paul's club was my family's charter. That charter, because the social clubs have to be chartered by the state of New York. You have to go fill out some papers and you get a club, private club charter. That was my grandfather's charter, Veterans and Friends. I got the card inside. It's on one of the. It's maybe on both sites. I put it on YouTube and Patreon. You can see the card. My father's name's on one of
them. Sammy's been quiet. He's been quiet. I gotta say, he's been quiet. We need a good laugh soon, so. Jimmy Higgins Palmieri?
Yeah, the legend.
You said wasn't there Palmieris that were close with your grandfather?
There's different Palmieri. Yeah, there's a few. Those Palmieris were from originally from Sicilian, of course. Then came to Brooklyn, and then was sent to Buffalo. Angelo and Paul. Paul Palmieri's had a couple of daughters, and one of them they tried to make a match, a machata they call that Sicilian, and with my uncle Johnny. after World War II, and they would give a big dowry if they would have married. They would have made that match. My Uncle John and Paul's daughter, and my uncle refused. You know, there's a difference. Yeah, Tony C was a powerhouse money wise. He was a skipper with us.
Seth, thank you. You're gonna have to donate again, but we will put it to somebody's membership for sure.
Yes, thank you.
So his question: did you guys care about being paisans from Italy, or was that old news by the time you were made?
No, I didn't look at guys from Italy. Then I looked at the guys that from Brooklyn. Let's say, I always feel even for today that if I meet somebody where I am, they don't have to be Sicilian to be my paisan. I figured all of Italy were paisans when we're at our element. But there was a dynamic between the guys that came from the other side over here. There was a little different mentality. So, but it wasn't a big divide in the way we treated each other. It was all respectful for the most part.
This is a great question. If you served a long sentence, would you walk away in a day when you no longer do prison sentences and no longer kill your friends? And I get the question. The question is maybe that it's a lot easier to be in the life today. Why would you walk away if you have less to worry about? And it seems to be more legitimate than anything else at this point.
Yeah, this is probably the best time to be a wise guy. The pressure of murders, they're not dealing drugs. Other levels or any level you can see there's really no drug pinches in the last 25, 30 years. There's no major drug pinches that I could think of. So yeah, it is a good time. What are you going to get? A couple of years for mopery? Get pinched for Shylock or construction? It's most of the time it's a couple of years and out. So yeah, it is a good time to be a wise guy. And if I served a long sentence and I got out, you're in the life. It's really hard to walk away once you're in it, and you do all that time. You're sacrificing all your time in that life. To walk away is pretty tough. Now, could you take a step back and not take shots? That you could go back for another long sentence? Sure, you'd be a little more cautious on what you do to earn. Good question, though. Very good.
It's a legitimate question because at this point, when do you stop calling yourself a crime family if the crime's really minimal and you're really going on legitimate businesses at this point?
Yeah, well, it's all about networking and connections, networking, and that's what it is. It's become crimes are minimal, but crime is crime nonetheless. Doesn't mean you have to have murders or major drug dealing to classify yourself as a crime family. It's an organization that's put together, and you're bound by oath and obligation. That makes it the crime family because you're dealing outside the realm of society and yet within your own society. So that's what supposedly keep you galvanized is the family structure and the rigidity, which the rigidity isn't there anymore as it used to be because the pain of death was what kept everybody in line.
Just real quick, you ever meet the Gemini twins? I know we spoke about this, but
Oh yeah, absolutely, good guys. Oh yeah, I got along with them. They were very respectful. They were out a lot. They were nightlife guys. They're my age. They're probably all 70 like me. Really good guys. Now with everything that goes on, as far as society, that's again a different viewpoint of how you view guys like myself and those guys in the life. Yeah. They incorporate it.
you go corporate.
Yeah, we incorporate it.
All right. I think we did good. What do you think? I think we answered a lot of questions.
Yeah. It's a good one. Almost 2 hours. Very good. We'll do another one. Hopefully we get RJ Sunday. RJ's free on Sundays. He's off, so we could maybe 2:30 Sunday. Load up with some more questions. Come over to Patreon because Sunday will be specifically Patreon for our Patreon club and family. So anybody's interested, how you doing, Shaman? Come over to Patreon. You're like, hey, there he is.
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
Look
I
at
really
it.
did not want to come on this show. I'll be honest.
Yeah, well, don't be honest. It's wrong. You look at it
Because this means so
Oh,
much
yeah.
to me to see this. Like you guys don't understand what this like to me. I'm a little sentimental guy.
No,
So
but
when I know the whole picture. So to me, this is like historic to me. It's a historic show.
okay, but we need you on. That's it. So
I
you
drove
gotta
all the way here from Target because my phone wasn't letting me on. So I was trying to get on in my car, it wasn't working. So I drove to my office just to pop on to say hi real quick. But I'm glad that I listened to the whole show though. It was a very, very good show. I enjoyed it a lot. So
Well, I thought I started the show and we're sitting here talking, pretending.
well, I now you got I'm not sure if you saw them. I was texting you a lot. Do you see them?
No, I haven't really looked at my phone. I looked at my phone at one point, but I haven't been going through texts or anything like
Okay,
that.
because I saw you thought you were on, but you wasn't on. So I tried to call and help you get on. So I didn't know what was going on. So, but
Yeah, no, we talked for about I think it was 12 minutes straight.
yeah,
Yeah.
About 12 minutes straight before we knew it.
he says. Kenneth says it's RJ. RJ, you don't like YouTube. I do
Who said
not. I don't dislike YouTube. I just like Patreon better. So
Yeah, well, we need you on there. Yeah, I know you had to work late tonight, but everybody wants to see your face. That's for sure.
So
So I don't know.
agree.
We'll be on Sunday, RJ. You available?
yeah.
Well, specifically for our Patreon family. And Ken, I still didn't get that shirt. It's at Mikey's house. So when
American Made is on. What's
wear
up, man? Good
I'm gonna
guy.
wear it. What happened?
YouTube, yes. Was there many people kicked? No, I'm just reading comments.
All right. Yeah.
American Made. But no, it was a good show. I actually enjoyed it. It was it's so weird how you listen to it differently when you're not moderating it. It's like I don't know. It's hard to explain. You can't really understand until you're on the just listening to it on the other side. So
You know what? I'll agree with that because now you can see from the outside looking in. Because right now you look at like two different screens. You got to ask questions. You're really not in it until you, like you always tell me, you don't get it really until you watch the replay of the live.
oh my
Because
God.
you love so much. into,
Yeah,
setting it
you're
up.
working, you're not listening. It's like you're trying to keep an ear to you. You're watching the chat. You're watching all these things. Your phone's going off. You got messages coming in from 3 places. But so you don't really. That's why I always watch the shows back. I don't really know until I rewatch them back.
All right. So look, RJ, we spoke about something today. Tell everybody who reached out to us.
Jackie Bush.
Yeah, again, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, Jackie Bush was. I didn't get. I have a number. She reached out. You left her a comment under the Vice TV video. She said, and she reached out and said she wanted to get in touch with you. I haven't called her yet, but she sent me her phone number. But so I will reach out to her this weekend, and maybe we can get
tell
her.
everybody what she's about, though. Who is she?
She was so young when she was on the stand that she didn't get a period yet. Is that what it was?
No, she was indicted in the Gold Cup case with me and 16 others.
But she's the comment you made about the period, right?
No, I told her lawyer
Yeah.
to make that comment.
About her though.
Yeah, in the opening statement to the jury. Yes.
Dave,
So,
retype the question for us.
Yeah, we're gonna try. RJ's gonna reach out and see if she already was on the show, and I watched the show. Somebody told me she was on. She did something, and I said good show, and then she reached out to RJ and us. Maybe we get to come on and tell the story about the Gold Club from her perspective.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, she knew a lot of the she knew a lot of the basketball players and all the athletes and entertainers that came into that club. She knew a lot of them, so she was a top dancer there for a long time in the Gold Club. So she has a lot of things she could tell that could be very entertaining if she so chooses to open up. So maybe we can get her on, RJ.
And we never did a Gold Club show yet. I see these 21 pending questions. See how it feels now, Junior, when you got more questions than you can even answer.
Yeah. I think this is somebody said this was a good one. I think this is a good one too. The Italian spoken at a making ceremony. Was it by a fluent speaker? Is that why Patsy Conti was there at your making ceremony?
No, Patsy Conti was just the captain that one of the 10 or 12 that was there. I think it was 12, the more I think about it. But Jackie knows spoke in Sicilian.
But let me ask you, how didn't you laugh in Sammy's face when he tried talking Italian?
No, he didn't.
Oh,
Jackie,
all right, that makes sense. I'm
no,
excited.
Jackie did it all in Sicilian. When it was repeated in English for the people that didn't understand Sicilian, of course. But for sake of ceremony, ceremonial purposes, the Sicilian was good. Gave me chills just hearing it in Sicilian. It's more impactful hearing it in that tongue than in English. Yeah, it was a surreal moment, as everyone can imagine. Especially, I came in, I was the third one in, and I see Dom and Junior sitting at the end of the table, and I know I'm going to be sitting in that seat next, and I'm looking at the two of them, and say, "Wow, this is really happening," and with all these guys around, and then the Sicilian tongue really lend a lot of, credibility of being there. There's two types of languages, and the English, how it comes out, and in Sicilian, how it translates. It's different.
Did you know Nicky Bianco from the Patriarca family, but originally from the Colombo?
No, I never knew him, but I know people that did, and they loved Nicky. Yep, they loved him. I know a lot of people that from the area that knew him.
Well, we got RJ on. I'm glad we got him on.
Yeah, it was. I left work a little after 7, and went out. And I wasn't planning on coming on, but then I'm listening. I keep hearing you guys say, "Bring on RJ, bring on," and then my phone. Yeah, so here I am. Joe for just to show my face.
The NHL playoffs are the best. That's the truth.
I can't even stand up on skates, so I never got a chance to experience hockey. So I can't appreciate the sport. Unless you play it, you really can't appreciate it. But it is, I understand if you go to a hockey game, it's quite an event.
But it really is. I'm not a sports guy, but playoff hockey, the way these guys play, there's no other sport could compare the way these guys go at it when they get to that point.
Yeah, Joseph asked a question about Anthony Scotto. Yeah, Sonny Saccone was the guy handling the peers at that time. Then when John took over, he left Sonny there, made him the captain. I never heard anything negative about Anthony. When he came home, they had a restaurant, and Jackie Knows was handling Anthony Scotto at that point. And Anthony was a good guy. He was involved with Herbert Construction, made a lot of money. Anthony Scotto when he got out. He was in good shape before. But nobody really bothered him come in and do anything. And, I was in charge of construction. We never took 5 cents from him at that time. But Jackie handled him.
All right.
You got anything, RJ? You got anything out there?
Let me think if I have a question for you. Don't think so.
No, come on. You're not a loss for words. You're never lost for words.
No, I don't. I guess.
Here's a good one by Joseph. Who made more money? Tommy Gambino, Anthony Scotto, Carmine Lombardozzi, Zappi, or Joe Francolino? If you put all that money together, be no more deficit in some of the states in this country. They were Tommy and Carmine. I would say the top. Tommy number one. Tommy's worth hundreds of millions.
Can you dissect the big news in the country right now? Tom, did you have an opinion on it? It's big news. I mean, everyone's talking about it. We have to ask you.
Would that be was it about the Yankees?
Elon beef.
Oh, that news. I'll give it an opinion. Did you really, and we talked about this, RJ, did you really think that two personalities like that, two huge egos, two guys that used to get in their way with that amount of money and influence could ever get along for any period of time? No, they're not going to. They're going to bump heads sooner or later. Elon's being shelved. He said Elon's on the shelf. So, from what I just heard today, he wants to start a third party with Stephen A. Smith.
Anthony Scaramucci, like a couple of months ago, when he first came in and took over Doge, he said, this will last a month or two. He said that for sure. He said the personalities, like same thing you just said. It's just you can't put two bulls in the room. It just doesn't work. It just
you know why Anthony.
The only thing that's bad though is the way they're doing it in the public sphere like this. You gotta have some gentleman qualities, and and say, you can privately not be talking and privately have problems with each other, but when you take it to the public like this, it makes you both look small. It's an embarrassment to the work you did. It's an embarrassment to everything that you guys tried to do. Just go your separate ways and be quiet. But when you go public like this, it just really not good.
Well, you're definitely right. There's nothing to argue there. You're 100% right. But let me throw Anthony in there. Scaramucci, he's one of those guys with those egos. He's a powerhouse in his own right.
Mm-hmm.
So he's set in his ways and his thinking, and you're not going to bump heads with him for too long before he pushes back. Now, he did the same thing what you're saying. He attacked Trump personally. This the personal, RJ. They have the bill. Right, wrong is different. We don't. The whole public don't know what's really in there. The politicians that read it don't even know what's in there. Everything, right? They don't even read this shit.
So who wrote it? They're the legislators. They're supposed to write it. So who's writing it?
Yeah, you're 100%. But they don't even know. A lot of these guys, they make a deal for their little bit to get a vote, and they sign off on the rest of the shit that's in there. This has been going on since forever. This is nothing new. These bills, but with the Democrats and the liberals or whatever else, progressives you want to call them, they really don't shoot themselves in the foot, except for the last couple of months a little bit. They've been doing the personal stuff and exposing secrets. They galvanize most of the time for the sake of winning elections, no matter how wrong they were. Buildings burning, like we said, make that analogy in the back. What buildings burning? The Republicans and the conservatives have always had this righteous way about them where they'll call everybody out and they'll dismantle themselves. They'll self-destruct. That's what they do. And this is just politics. Politics is a dirty word because no matter what he disagreed with, when anybody disagrees with about a bill or the way you're running the government, you can't steep to getting personal. You can't get it, this is my opinion, in anything in your life. Once you throw that volley about personal life and exposing secrets, or Trump was in Epstein's book. I mean, how many times does this guy have dinner with Melania? It's already been rumored he's in his book, Epstein's book. They got pictures with him, Trump with it. Okay, what are you saying now? Why you go talk about what the bill you don't like? Why you're criticizing anybody, Trump or anybody else? Talk about specifics of what you don't agree on. That's okay. That's politics. That's your opinion. You're a major business guy. You have the right to bump heads on issues of finance and economics, right? But once you bring in the personal end of somebody, you start calling their wives and this and that, just like Gravano, that piece of garbage, right? Once you start doing that, you irritate people. And there's roads you can never go back on once you get personal. This is the problem with all of them.
Why do you think he's mad?
I don't know. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. We don't know.
I mean, Elon, like, what do you think triggered him?
I don't know. We don't know. It's folly to think that we know. It'd be silly for us to guess. Oh, we're going to hear all kinds of excuses why this one's right and this one's wrong and vice versa. We're going to hear the shots going back and forth. And that's disgusting because there's things that are, see that all these big bills, and you know I'm against all these bills. Every bill, know what it should be? Line item. What did everybody agree with? No tips? Okay. Why we have to have 4,000 other things built in there to say no tips? Both parties agree on it. Why can't we vote on that? Why can't we put it in front of Congress, make it law? Why can't we take that? Why? Because there's always shenanigans going on in those bills where other people are going to hate and other people are going to love because it's self-serving. This is the problem with this country. There's this stuff that gets forced down there that people are not going to agree with unless they get bribed, unless they get told, we'll give you X down the road. You want to keep that seat, Congressman, Congresswoman? Sign off. You want us to primary you or you want us to back you? What do you want? This is the disgusting part of this. Now, this is how smart they are, the Republicans, right? They got 3 chambers. You think in a year and a half from now they're going to win any seats with this? Never. It's going to go right back because that's what the country does. The ugly at that moment lose. This is ugly. Now you got 2 guys, again, how we started this, with tremendous egos. These are not the first 2 guys that bump heads like this. They're going on forever. Just that the level of these guys is enormous. You know, you think Elon's happy that he got crushed with his stock and everything else? They're burning his stock.
That's what I was thinking. I was trying to do some thinking in my head. What has this guy so triggered? Because he really went hard at him. And all I could think was, you know, he stepped into the government. He went into Doge, and he took the political hit to his companies. His sales are down for Tesla like 60% over around the globe. His board wants him to, I think they asked him to, or I heard something about they wanted him to even step down as CEO. He was, you know, his companies took hit. He took a lot of heat from his company too. Slash all this spending and all this funding and taking what he called a sledgehammer to government. And then he sees this bill come up, and is he angry and saying, I took all this abuse, all this hit to my company, and now we go past a multi-trillion-dollar spending bill all over again after we just said we're done doing this, and I was the champion of all of it. So what did I do it for? And now I'm pissed. Could that be a scenario?
They're all scenarios, but we don't know. Nobody's broken down that bill. I can never understand what's in there. I don't know if anybody can. Most economists that think they know what's in there will disagree. Some are great, some are no good. This is good, this is no good. There should be no one big bill that make it easy for everybody. Now, do you know of another person like Elon that stepped into the government, into politics, that got destroyed? Their business? You know of another person? Who's Elon arguing right now? Did Trump go through this?
Trump took a little hit. But Trump's stuff's a little bit more safe because Trump's not stock market.
Got hammered. His daughter went out of business with a lot of stuff. They got hammered the first time around, Trump, in business. Did he make a up with a lot of other stuff he's done? Yeah, sure. Yes, he has. He's bounced back on his feet. But when you're in the private sector and you jump into there, I like private sector people in government. But look what happens. I don't like government people in the government for decades after decades being involved and selling out their souls and their constituents for a deal to keep that seat. But you need a business-minded person there. But look what's happening with 2 guys here. 2 guys are never going to get along. It's just obvious in time they were going to bump heads because they have huge egos. That's why they got to be who they are, because they have strong character.
Yeah,
so it's never going to work. Could you put Chin and John Gotti in the same family?
But you know what? They did seem like they really liked each other. They really did. It
they
really
did.
seemed genuine.
RJ, How's a marriage start out? Husband and wife, how's it start out? It starts out, everything is great. I love you, you love me.
Yeah, but what caused the
2
downfall?
years later, I hate you. I want to kill you. Get out. You're no good. These things happen. Marriages fall apart. Partnerships fall apart.
Yeah, I think he's mad over. I really truly think he's pissed over. He feels like I took a big hit to my social standing, a big hit to my economic standing, a big hit with my trading partners and my board to stop the outrageous spending in government and cut it down and get this waste, fraud, and abuse away. And we just brought it all right back. I think that's how, and I think he's pissed.
It could be.
Yeah.
I don't know because we don't know what's in there. We don't. Nobody's really broken it down what the crux of the problem is. Nobody's talking about the good stuff, the tips, the no tax on Social Security.
That's in there.
Yeah, the tips are in there. No tax on tips. Yeah, it's in there. But again, there's a trade-off. Pass this, and we're going to put this in here. Just take all that stuff you agree on and pass. They'll never do that because they'll never get what they want, and they're in. They have to compromise, and a lot of times it can hurt. It could be a very bad decision what you're doing. I don't know. I hope it plays out the right way for the country. Screw these egos. But they should pull out a couple of them and get it done.
You know what? Like he made a good. This last thing.
RJ, I gotta ask you a question. Could you take over for now? Because I gotta run.
I can't moderate because I'm not. I'm here as a guest. I'm like brought on through a link, so I can't do nothing. I can't even stop the show.
Let's do so. Let's wrap it up. We can bring it up Sunday. That's all.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 hours and 11 minutes.
Attaboy. Good job, gentlemen.
Junior, yeah, nice job, brother. I really enjoyed listening to it. Really good.
I appreciate everybody coming on. Hope everybody enjoyed it. We appreciated this sport very much.
And let's not forget D-Day today, and let's have some remembrance of those people that we never met, never knew, but know their stories, how they gave their lives for a cause to keep this country on the right track at that time and not have us all speak in a different language. So those guys outside of politics gave their lives regardless of who sent them. So they should be honored.
All right.
Yep. Wrap it up.
I'll go last.
You go last. All right. Well, I'll go first. Again, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll do it again soon. It's been fun.
Someone said leave the mob stuff to Mikey and politics to RJ. I don't know about that one.
Well, look, RJ and I definitely can speak politics all day long, but we may be boring you after a while. But, I think between RJ and I dissecting mentalities and protocols out here, what's going on in the world, I think we have pretty objective positions. So where you with the audience could formulate their own opinions and bring it to us. So hopefully Sunday, maybe we'll do this, RJ. Maybe we could open up a little bit on that.
It's not safe.
Well, this is really not politics, what we're talking about.
But
you didn't take a position. I ain't taking a position. It's just an opinion on what we're seeing.
We've tried this.
I know it's a little tough, but people have to have an open mind. They could, if you're going to hate one person or hate this, you're not having an open mind to what's really going on. And if you don't have an open mind, you never could solve a problem. If it's your way and you just set in one thing, I hate the other person, that's not the way what makes the world work. When you have to work together, you have to work together. Going like this never gets anything solved. So keep an open mind, everybody. And you can root for whoever you want to root for. That's okay. But you need to keep an open mind. And Yankees got to make some trades or we're in trouble.
All right, close it out.
The last thing I'll say is Elon's a dictator in his business. Trump has to run a Republic. He got 435 people he has to get involved to pass what he needs. Elon can come in and say, I want this done right now within Tesla or SpaceX and blah, blah, blah. And they're just in a different place. Trump knows I got to pass a bill and I don't get everything that I want. And Elon and Trump feels betrayed because he probably thinks Elon should understand that I don't get everything that I want. And I think Trump feels betrayed, and I think Elon is just pissed because it sabotages work that he did and he took a lot of heat from. I think it's that simple.
I think it's a quality assessment. But again, remember what Trump did. He thought he was going to run this country like a business, and he got impeached. So, all right, everybody. Good night.
All right. Thank you. Have a good
I
night.
can say this for RJ. Peace and love. Right, RJ?
Peace and love.
That's it. God bless. Stay well. Stay close to your families. Keep smiling. Whoever's not on Patreon, jump on. See you Sunday, 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. Goodbye.
Take care.